Presidents of the United States of America are just one of many people who can greatly inspire us. Among the greats, we have chosen three men who have been inspirational to us. Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, making him the oldest president on this list. Roosevelt's political philosophy was based on self determination. He was a writer, a conservationist, an outdoorsman, and a soldier. He was a firm believer in each man's ability to shape his own destiny. However, he recognized that the system was grossly unfair, with those with money and power has all of the opportunities. His mission to create a more equitable system in which all Americans could succeed. In 1906, he received the Nobel Peace Prize for mediating the end of the Russo-Japanese War, and he secured the route and began construction of the Panama Canal. Theodore Roosevelt was born in New York City on October 27, 1858, and suffered from asthma from the age of 3. His condition was so bad that he spent much of his early years in bed. Unable to attend school, his parents hired tutors to teach him from home. Theodore graduated from Harvard in June 1880 and married in October of the same year. In 1900, prominent Republicans urged Roosevelt to throw his hat into the ring for the vacant Republican vice presidential spot in the upcoming election. Though reluctant, he was the Republican nomination, pairing with President McKinley, and in the end they won on March 1, 1901. 6 months later, however, President McKinley was shot while attending the Pan American Exposition in New York. He died 8 days later. As a result, the 42-year-old Roosevelt was propelled into the highest office in the land, becoming the 26th President of the United States on September 14, 1901. He was the youngest man to ever hold the position. Teddy Roosevelt, despite his illness, once had learned to read. He became a voracious devourer of books. From the age of 6, Theodore began filling journals with his observation about the natural world. Despite his unabashed love of hunting, Theodore Roosevelt was undeniably a natural lover, and he may have been the first environmentalist U.S. president. Roosevelt used executive action like no other president before him to achieve his conservationist goals throughout his presidency. Conservation commissions were established in 41 states, and the National Conservation Commission was established. Through executive action, Roosevelt ensured that Yellowstone National Park could not be exploited for commercial purposes and established over 50 national bird refuges. He later founded the United States Forest Service and established the first 18 national monuments, including Muir Woods, the Grand Canyon, and the Devil's Tower.
James Earl Carter, otherwise known as Jimmy Carter, was the 39th President of the United States and served from 1977 to 1981. Before serving as President of the United States, Carter had been Governor of Georgia 1971 to 1975. Currently, Carter is the list as the oldest living former U.S. President. His current age is 98 years. Jimmy Carter was born on October 1, 1924 in Plains, Georgia. Carter underwent active military service, and in 1952, Carter was employed on a nuclear submarine under the command of Admiral Harry Cooper. In 1962, Carter's success in becoming a senator, and in 1970, Carter was elected governor of Georgia. Then, in 1976, Carter was successfully elected president of the U.S. from the Democratic Party. As U.S. President, Carter is well known for his several programs, such as the Alternative Energy Program and the Racial Equality Program. he initiated. In addition, Carter also played a role in the peace agreement between Egypt and Israel and signed agreement in terms of reducing weapons between America and the Soviet Union. Carter is also known as a person who has a high social life. This is evidenced in 1982. Carter founded the Carter Center in Atlanta. The Carter Center focused on advocating for human rights and helping and alleviating human suffering around the world. Jimmy Carter won the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize for his services in international conflict resolution, spreading democratic values, and human rights advocacy. Thing that inspires from Jimmy Carter is that in an effort to promote peace, President Jimmy Carter has established the Carter Foundation, and it's actively fighting for health care, world democracy, women's and children's rights, and cheap housing for poor people. He also withdrew from the possibility of being dragged into conflict in other countries and fully supports world peace. This really inspired me because he is a very good person and also a person who can be an inspirational figure or man of inspiration. And this is of course very much needed at the time to make us even better people like Jimmy Carter and to keep conflict that may cause problems. And of course, this inspires us to uphold humanity and human rights.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Indah Rizki. I'm from SASB. Today I'm going to talk to you about Barack Obama. Barack Obama was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. After graduating from Columbia University in the 1983, he was worked as a community organizer in Chicago. There are a few things that I like about him. That the first is that what he done for the healthcare reform. He has been the first president to have the most Americans at one time insured and is covering 32 million of Americans. He provides a good healthcare from any American citizenship and also repaired that the healthcare in the country. The second that he repealed he repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act. This is good because it allows such as guys and people who are in the LGBT community to serve in the country and be open about their sexual orientation. And the next thing that I like about Barack Obama is he was investing into the renewable energy, like the renew about gasoline, and then it should cost in the end of return at low. This would be a really good investment into the power grids, into biofuel and car running on the energy of the electricity rather than just the regular gasoline. And the next thing was the cell-time research. The Obama administration removed the Bush administration restriction on the cell-time research, which can help the medical field tremendously. And the last would be the expansion of the national service. I think was a good move on his part because about the national forest should be protected, and it also create a surplus job in the industry too. And of course, many things that he could. He was such a good president that he done. He was the first president that really care about the racial thing that happened in the United States. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
These men were not only the presidents of the United States of America, but also great men in their own right. Theodore Roosevelt for his conservationist effort and his love for wildlife, Jimmy Carter for his kindness, and Barack Obama for his fight against racism.